उसके बाद फ्लूइड.
So next we'll be talking about the break-in and break-out point. Now, break-in and break-out point, there can be a breakaway point which can be complex in the nature. Okay. So how to validate that complex root is a breakaway or break-in point? What's the condition to validate it? Let's see that first and then we'll move to the next. We have 2 steps, then we are going to sketch it. Now let's suppose I have a transfer function like this. We'll continue with the same point, that how to find the breakaway and breaking point. Let's say we have what's the point number, step number here? 6. So we'll continue with the step 6. That should be part B of it. Now let's say I have a open loop transfer function for me given is g of s, h of s is this is k divided by s into s plus 4 into s squared plus 4s plus 13. Let's say this is the open loop transfer function. Now in this case, there are 2 real poles, there will be 2 complex poles. Now we have already validated that how a real, we have seen that once we have got the dk by ds equal to 0, then we have got the roots of the dk by ds, and there can be 2, 3 roots depending on the order of the equation. Once we have got the roots, we have validated those roots as the breakaway or break-in points. So breakaway points has to be between very fast and going again for a bit of refreshing your mind. Breakaway point has to be between 2 consecutive poles, number 1. Then it has to be a product of root locus, number 2. Number 3rd, it has to be a root of the equation dk by ds equal to 0. That should be very clear. So for any real root, that's the condition. For qualifying to be a breakaway, if it is between 2 consecutive poles, for a break-in between 2 consecutive zeros, the rest all are the same conditions. Now for a complex number, so what's this complex? This will be having 2 roots. So s will be minus b. I'm taking this s squared plus 4s now to find a root. S will be minus b plus minus under root of b square, that is 16, minus 4ac, that is 4 into 52, divided by 2a, that is 1. So this root comes out to be exactly, this is minus 2 plus j, this is 36 basically, and solve it. It will take time because I want to finish. So this is minus 2 plus minus, this will be j, 6 by 2 is 3. So minus 2 plus minus j, 2 roots are there, 2 complex and conjugate roots are there. This is the given open loop transfer function, and I need to validate that this is, for these roots, what should be the breakaway and breaking points. So what I have to do, the procedure will be the same. I have to consider the characteristic equation of this one. Okay, characteristic equation will be 1 plus g of s, h of s will be equal to 0. So what that should be 1 plus k divided by s square plus 4s multiplied by this s square plus 4s plus 13 equal to 0. So once you will be able to get dk by ds, we'll put it equal to 0. So that should be, we have to multiply a lot. Okay, plus k should be equal to 0. Then what we have to do, we have to put dk by ds equal to 0. So you have to do it yourself, please, because we don't have time. We already wasted so many days. So this we can multiply, then take on the other side as we have already done last time. Then differentiate it with respect to s. Constant I already told you. Differentiate the constant with respect to s and put that value equal to 0. Out of this you are going to get two complex roots. I am not worried about other things. So two complex roots will be, s will have a value of minus 2 plus minus 2 plus minus j 1.5. I hope this is clear. So we are going to take k as a minus of this. We have to multiply it. Then take this whole, this will be minus of this, and then differentiate it with respect to s and put it equal to 0. Definitely you are going to get two complex roots. The value of that roots I am writing here. I need to calculate this, or you can calculate this. Okay. So this is fine. Then we have calculated these two roots. So normal conventional method we cannot apply for this complex roots, that whether they qualify to be a breakaway or breaking points. For this, what we have to write, there are two conditions. Number one conditions, we have to validate it with, validate the normally, how we validate this complex root to root. The complex root should qualify for a breakaway and breaking points. We have to validate this with the angle condition, we call it. First to be validated for qualifying above roots as breakaway slash break-in point. We need to use angle condition. What is that angle condition? Angle condition says that these roots, whenever we are taking the angles of these roots, this for this open loop transfer function, that should be multiple of 180 degree, odd multiples of 180 degree. So you can write down the angle condition is angle of g of s h of s, angle of g of s h of s is equal to plus minus 2q plus 1 multiplied by 1, where q will vary from 0, 1 to 2. So this condition we have to verify. So how we have to verify this? So what is the g of s angle we are going to verify? What is our equation in reference here? Our equation, let's say this is equation 1. From equation 1, okay. So angle g of s h of s, but this has to be at what point? Because we have to validate these. So at this values, we'll take 1. Then it means because both are conjugate. If one will be minus 180, another can be plus 180. It doesn't matter. It has to be plus minus odd multiples of 180 degrees and 80 degree. Not centigrade degree. Okay, fine. So what should be the angle condition of this? K is a constant, will not have any angle, angle will be 0. Then number 1, what is the number of, let me write the roots in terms of the roots first. Before writing this, let me write it in terms of root, then I will take the angle condition. So this can be written as g of s, h of s can be written as K s minus 0. So this will be s plus 4, and this has two roots. S minus of, what are the roots? What are these two roots? Minus 2 plus j3 1. Another is s minus 2 minus j3. So this comes out to be h of s will be equal to k divided k. Not taking still an angle condition, we will use s into s plus 4 into s plus 2 minus j3. This will be s plus 2 plus j3. So this is the rules we have substituted the roots here. You can multiply this, you will get the equation. This it's not a problem. You get the same equation. Now I have used the angle condition to validate these two should be breakaway and breaking points. Now this, whether this will be a breakaway or breaking points. Rule number 9. This is a pole. This has to be a pole. Okay? There is no zero at all. So this has to be a breakaway point. We are qualifying not a zero at all. There is no zero at all. So breakaway point has to be between what? Between two consecutive poles. Is it clear? So it has to be breakaway point. Analysis of is for the breakaway point. Okay. Now K at an angle of 0. Let's take the angle condition. Okay. Now value of S I have to substitute there. S is equivalent to I will substitute -2. I can substitute one table, another will be because conjugate. You can multiply another by the 9. So minus 2 plus J 1.58. Substitute this. S plus minus 2 plus J 1.58 plus 4. And then we have minus 2 plus J 1.58 plus 2 minus J3. And this is minus 2 plus J 1.58 plus 2 plus J. So if you calculate this, you can take the angles of this by using your calculators. I'll write this equation after that to find the angles. K at an angle of 0. So this will be same. Using your calculators, you can take the angle. Minus and this will be plus 2. Okay. This will be plus 2. This 2 and 2 will go. So this will be J 4.58. This will be, yes, we added minus J plus J 1.58. Something 1.42, I think, minus 1.42. And this 2 and 2 gets cancelled. J 4.58. Okay, if you take the angle, this will be something around, I think, what is this? This value will be minus J 1.42. Is it clear? Yeah. This is minus. Use your calculator. Okay. So now, if you change them into polar, you know how to change them into polar? You have to bring your calculators from tomorrow. Okay. Take your calculators out. All of you are requested. Okay. Now use this rectangular form. Change this into the polar form. So if you change this into the polar form, I am not interested in the magnitudes, I am interested in the angles. First angle will be, so angle condition, G of S, H of S will be K at an angle of 0. Then first angle will be 141.69, this angle, multiplied by second angle will be 48.31 minus 19 minus 19. Plus 9. This will be J only. Why are you taking this? Second. Yeah, 1.42 and J 4.58, correct? And 2 plus J. Yeah. We'll be getting this angle, you can check it. So out of this, these two will go. You can add them simply. Polar we add them. How you add it? Rectangular we add, when we have to add complex numbers, we add in rectangular form. When we have to subtract, we subtract in rectangular form. Whenever we multiply and divide, you do it in the product form. So this is the polar. We have to transform them into the polar. So 90 will be 0 here. So this is K and this is approximately equal to 180. So that is fine. So it validates that if it is a multiple of 180 degree, what I have told you here. So this is very clearly, this validates that this complex number, this complex root is a valid breakaway point. So S 1, 2, both of them, that means 2 plus j plus minus j 1.58. Both of them are valid. Both of them are valid breakaway points. This is the condition you have to verify. Now in the gate examinations, sometimes finite numbers will be given, so you don't need to validate. दिमाग लगाना होता है. गेट में ज्यादा दिमाग है, थोड़ा सा स्किल है, इंटेलिजेंस उतनी नहीं है उसमें, तो थोड़ा सा दिमाग है. क्वेश्चन ऐसे दिए होते हैं, you don't have to validate it. See, the 4 options have been given here. Now validate whether this route is a valid breakaway point or not. So 4 finite options are given. Finite options. So that clearly says that this is a breakaway point. Okay? I will tell you. गेट के कुछ अच्छे क्वेश्चन ले लूँगा, उस टाइम हम डिस्कस करेंगे. But this is very important. How a breakaway point, a complex route. If there is a complex route of a dk by ds equal to 0 equation, already procedure we have seen. If there is a complex route, how that qualifies to be a valid breakaway breaking point. Breaking will qualify if this equation I will take care, then this will become 2 complex zeros, then this will be here, then we will get complex zeros and roots will be there. We have to validate them as per the same condition. The condition is same, but condition or the procedure is the same, but this is the way how we have to validate. This is the angle condition. Number 2 is if you have to find the magnitude of K for the sake of the stability. Let's see where is the marginally stable, how is the left half shell is completely stable, and then when it is unstable. For that, we have to use the magnitude condition. Next, number 2 is the magnitude condition. For finding, next you can find, write down. For the step B only, उसका ऊपर का लिख देना, it's satisfied, ठीक है? It satisfies the angle condition, so both the roots are the valid breakaway point. Next, to find corresponding value of K, use magnitude condition. To find the corresponding value of K, use magnitude condition. Okay. So what is the magnitude condition? Given characteristic equation will be like this. So g of s, h of s will be equal to -1. Now we take the magnitude of this one. Will be magnitude is 1. So g of s, h of s was in front of us right now. So we'll take the magnitude of this one, k, divided by magnitude of s. Okay, magnitude of s plus 4, magnitude of s plus 2 minus j3, magnitude of s plus 2 plus j3. Now substituting the first value, what's the value? Value of this is -2 point. One of them we have to substitute. It's the value. This is the root of the dk by ds. Magnitude of this. Directly right here, we have calculated already this. Write directly this value from here. We copy this value. -2 plus j 1.58. We have to substitute this value. Then 2 plus j 1.58. Then magnitude of j 1.42. Then magnitude of j 4.58. Magnitude will be positive. Okay, this should be equal to 1. Now taking the magnitude of this one, under root of real part square plus imaginary part square. Okay, can take different under roots, or you can take the same under root. There's no problem. 1.58 whole square. Okay, then we have this one 0 plus this will come out under root whole square. This will come 1.42 itself. 4.58. Why? 0 plus this square whole under root square, and this will go, and this value will be around calculate with your calculators. This k value will be equal to 42.24. So this is the k value and this is k marginal. When you are drawing the root locus, so we'll see that this will be, this k marginal will be here, this k marginal will be here. After that, if we increase the value more than this, the system will become unstable. That we'll discuss. Okay, this is fine. So we have two conditions. If you have to find the magnitude of k, this is the procedure. If you have to find the validate whether a complex root is a valid breakaway point or breaking point, then that's the next step is next is step number 7. Okay, any questions? Roman 9. K square 1.
मतलब ये क्या ना मान के k का मैग्नीट्यूड निकला
हाँ
ऐसे
k divided by k है ना हमने we have taken the same open loop transfer function, fine. Then we have taken the magnitude of each. Why we have to take magnitude? Why we have to take magnitude? For stability we have to find the magnitude at two roots, that are the two complex roots. So we have taken the value of those two complex roots. Once we have got the magnitude, that k should be equal to 1. Isn't this value should be equal to 1 from this equation? Is it fine? I think you are not here, you are somewhere else. Okay, next is, now if the value of k increases, what will happen? The root locus will move far away from where? To move far away from the poles and zeros. So root locus will move when the value of k will increase, step number 7. As the value of k increases, so root locus will move far away from the poles and zeros. Then what will happen? A branch of the root locus that terminates at 0. Root locus की branch कैसे terminate होती है? It starts at k equal to 0, gain of k equal to 0, and it will terminate. Always a branch will start at pole with a gain k equal to 0, and it will terminate at 0. Gain k equal to infinity at from pole it will start and 0 it will terminate. So when the k value will go on increasing, you have to see when the k value will go on increasing, what will happen? It will move far away from the poles and zeros. You can see that later on. Okay, अभी हमने question नहीं किया. So that will, when the value of the k will increase, it will move. The value of the k as we go on increase the value of k, it will move far away from the poles and zeros. Number 1. Number 2, any branch of the root locus that terminates where? That will terminate at a 0 with a gain of k equal to infinity. Okay? This is normal. Any branch of root locus will have a gain of k equal to infinity and will terminate at 0. Then that branch, how we approximate it? That branch is approximated with the help of while constructing the root locus. That branch, every branch, we are approximating that with the help of asymptotes or asymptotic lines. What is an asymptote? Asymptote is a straight line which moves parallelly with the root locus and will intersect that root locus at k equal to infinity. Again, I am saying asymptote is what? Asymptote is basically a straight line, and that will move parallel to the root locus, because root locus will be a sort of a curve, but asymptote is a straight line. So that will move parallel to the root locus and will intersect the root locus at k equal to infinity. So we need to approximate those lines with the help of that. You can write down this point. As the value of the k increases, the root locus moves far away from poles and zeros. The root locus moves far away from poles and zeros. A branch of the root locus that terminates on 0, okay, that terminates on zeros at gain k equal to infinity, approach asymptotes in doing so. Approach asymptotes in doing so. Then the path of the root loci, now you can write the path of the root loci is then approximated with the help of asymptotes. Or asymptotic lines. An asymptote is a straight line to which the root locus moves parallelly and finally meets at or intersects at s equal to infinity. So what is the question? Question here is that when we have the zeros, we will terminate where it will terminate and where it will intersect. These are the two things. So we approximate the root locus at that time with the help of the asymptotes. Now let's see. Following are the important one. Number one. Number of asymptotes. First point of this is number of asymptotes is equal to P minus Z, where P is finite number of poles of open loop transfer function G of S H of S, and Z is finite number of zeros of the number of asymptotes will be how much? Always the number of asymptotes will be P minus 0, where P will be number of finite poles. How much poles? Suppose there are 3 poles and there are 2 zeros, 3 minus 2 will be the number of asymptotes. Number 2 is the angle that the asymptotes make with respect to the real axis. Angle that the asymptotes make with respect to real axis. So that angle is, you should always remember, that angle is equal to phi a 2q plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z, where q is, this is represented by phi a 2q plus 1 into 180 degrees p minus z, where q will vary from 0, 1, 2, so on and so forth up to p minus z minus 1. This is very important. So the angle of the asymptotes that these asymptotes will make with respect to the real axis will be equal to phi a, or phi you can write simply, sometimes some books write alpha, it doesn't matter, 2q plus 1, 180 degree, that's odd multiples of 180, and p divided by p minus z, where the value of q has to extend from 0 up to 1, and then finally it will exit or it will finish at the value, final value will be p minus z minus 1. Fine. Next is the point at which the asymptotes will start. That means where from they will origin of the asymptotes. That's called a center point. So we can write out third point. The point at which the asymptotes starts or origin on the real axis. The point at which the asymptotes start or originate on the real axis. So that is called on the real axis is called, one को क्या कहते हैं, that's called centroid. Centroid is represented by sigma A. Sigma A should be equal to what? There is a formula for this. Sigma summation of finite poles minus summation of finite zeros divided by P minus Z. So that is summation of finite poles minus summation of finite zeros divided by P minus Z. So this is the centroid. So these asymptotes will originate at the centroid. Let me have an example, simple example I have to do. You have any question? Okay, let me have an example. For this I will verify all this condition. A divided by S, let's say the Oculus transfer function is given as A divided by S plus 1, S plus 8. G of S H of S, that is the Oculus transfer function is S plus 1, S plus 8. Okay? S plus 1, S plus 8. Fine. So number one, what I have to do, I'm talking about this point now. Number of asymptotes will be, rule number 9, how many number of asymptotes? That will be 3, because there are 3 poles located at origin 1, then we have minus 1 and then minus 8. So there are 3 real poles, so that will be 3 minus 0, no 0. So number of asymptotes are 3. So how many asymptotes will be there? Angle of asymptotes. So first angle will be decided by this one, P minus Z is 0 minus 1. So there will be 2. You have to always remember, if there are 3 asymptotes, angles will be 2. 2, 1, 1, there will be nothing, 0. So Q value will be 2. So that means when the Q value is 2 maximum, so it begins at 0, 1 and 2. So there are 3. Including 0, there is 3. Okay, fine. So we have to start from 0. 0, 1, P minus Z minus 1. That is 3 minus 0 minus 1 is equal to 3 minus 0 minus 1 is equal to 2. So what are the angles now? जो अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं, जिनको गेट का पहले से आइडिया हो, जैसे कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम, वो 3 में याद रखते हैं. 2 में एसिम्पटोट्स क्या होते हैं, सीधे वैल्यूज याद. 3 में एसिम्पटोट्स क्या होते हैं, वो वैल्यूज याद रखते हैं. जब गेट का क्वेश्चन आएगा, मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा. दे डोंट हैव टू कैलकुलेट ऑल दिस. उनको याद होते हैं. 4 में क्या है नंबर्स, यही. 3 में क्या है नंबर्स, यही. 2 में क्या है नंबर्स, वो याद रखना होता है. रिमेंबर, ये कैलकुलेशन करने की जरूरत नहीं होती वहां. 5A is, okay, first is 0. So this will be 0. 180. Okay, 0 plus 1 is 1. So 1 into 180, 180. P minus Z, what is this? P minus 0, this is 60. पहले से ही पता होना चाहिए. 180, एक तो 60 आया, दूसरा 180 आएगा, दूसरा 300 आएगा. 3 का यही. नंबर 2. So नंबर 2 will be, दूसरा एंगल कौन सा होगा? Q equal to 0 पे आइए. Q equal to 1. 5A will be equal to, so 1 will be 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 into 180. Okay, so this is 3, so this is 180. Q equal to 2, 5 will be, so 2 is 4 plus 5, 5 into 180 divided by 180 degree divided by 3, so this is 3. पहले से पता होना चाहिए. अगर एसिम्पटोट्स 3 है तो यही एंगल होने चाहिए. 2 है 91 to 70. 4 है 45 to 25 to 115 इक्वल एंगल. ठीक है, तो जो गेट का कुछ भी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम है उसको पहले ही याद होना चाहिए. इससे ज्यादा 4 से ज्यादा नहीं आते हैं किसी भी गेट एग्जाम में. आज तक मैंने नहीं दिए, तो 4 याद रिमेंबर, उनको वही उतना टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करना. तो नंबर 2 याद हो, क्लियर कट एंगल निकालने कैसे हैं. तो प्रोसीजर यू हैव टू नो. So 3 angles we have, 60, 180 and 300. Last, what should be the centroid of the asymptote? Centroid will be, third point, sigma A should be sigma finite poles, summation of finite poles. What are the finite pole values? 0, minus 1 and minus 8. There are no finite zeros. Divided by P minus Z, that should be 3. That is minus 9 divided by 3. So minus. Centroid value is minus 3. So asymptotes will start on the real axis. Centroid will be always on the real axis. It cannot be on the imaginary axis. It has to be very clear. That's why I have written here. Starts or originate on the real axis. This is a very important point. It will be always on the real axis, not on the imaginary axis. So let's draw it for the time being. Let's see how we can draw this. Now, if I have to draw this part of the root locus, this is your real axis, this is your negative real axis, this is your imaginary axis but negative, this is your positive axis. So, where are the roots? One, we have pole at the, not roots, poles are at the origin, pole is at -1, and pole is at, this is, let's say, -2. -1, this is -2, and this is -3. It's negative sigma. Okay. Now, first angle is 60. So this is 90. Half of 90 is 45, there is 50. So approximately 60 will be somewhere like this. This angle with respect to real axis will be 60. You can use your protractor and there is no need. But approximately. Second, 180 degree is here. This with respect to real axis is 180 degree. So this is asymptote number 1. This is asymptote number 2. Now third is 300. So you can start from, always if you have start positive. This is first quadrant. This is second quadrant. Third quadrant, fourth quadrant. So this is 0, 90 degree, 180 degree, and this is 270 degree, back to 360. So this is in anti-clockwise or in counter-clockwise direction. If you have to go for the clockwise direction, you can use this as 0, this negative 90, this negative 180, this negative 270, this negative 360. Okay? So you can use like this also. Okay? This is the one in the same. You produce this vector here, this is fine. So this way you have to remember the values. Always positive you should take on the counterclockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. Now what will be 300? This is complete is 360. So opposite of this will be exactly 300. So somewhere here it will be with respect to real axis. So this angle will be this is the centroid. Now what is the centroid? Centroid is here. Oh sorry, I've drawn wrong. Because as I'm sure to start with the centroid. Anyway, this was the angle. Sorry, this is not correct. Because I'm not seeing the I thought this is a 1, -1. They have to begin from the maybe किसने बनाया होगा, I'm sorry. I'm not seeing the centroid here. I thought this is -1. -1. Okay, fine. So we have pole at origin, then we have here, then we have -8. So we don't need to locate that, we have to see centroid. Centroid is -3. Okay. So first centroid has an angle of 60 degree, like this. It's not 60. This is 60. We have seen this is also 60. Then we'll move here, and that will be 180. So this with respect to the real axis is 180. This is 60 degree. This here. And this is 300. From here up to positive quadrant we are taking. This later on we will say where this will intersect. This can go beyond. C greater than y equal to intercept. This is clear. So they have to begin from where? They have to begin at the centroid. You have to see appropriate angles because there will be appropriate angle. There are 3 asymptotes, 3 angles will be there, and then including 0 is there also. So 3 angles will be there. So you have to draw these angles accordingly. Okay. Next condition is that we have asymptotes or we have the root locus because we will be approximating the root locus. Suppose the root locus will start from the breakaway points. Root locus, what is the breakaway point basically? That will move those points, that the breakaway points at that point, that will be between two consecutive poles and that will move away from the real axis. So root locus has to be approximated like this. We have to approximate that should move parallelly to these asymptotes. I'm giving an example. We have to draw a curve for the root locus. So that should move parallelly to the asymptotes and that should meet or cut these as equal to infinity they have to meet, or they should cut or intersect it as equal to infinity when they are going to finite. But for the time being, the curve will be like this. Let's see, next point is very important. We have to see where the root locus is going to cut, where it is going to intersect on the imaginary axis. How we can calculate that point? That's our next point. Okay. So step number 8. There are 2-3 techniques books have given, but what is most prominent is the root criterion is the most prominent. Right side?
Right side P plus Z even.
P minus?
P plus Z even. या P plus Z 4 plus U even होता ही है.
मैंने बनाया नहीं. I have not taken any break. मैं ये example दे रहा हूँ कि root locus will be like this. I have not taken any condition. किसी का reference मैंने नहीं दिया. Don't get confused for the small points. मैं कह रहा हूँ कि whenever there is a valid, इसमें तो नहीं है. लेकिन जब condition आएगी तो यहाँ भी एक code होगा definitely. मैंने अभी बनाया, मैं कह रहा हूँ, I am saying you are right. लेकिन मैंने अभी कोई condition नहीं ली, कोई question नहीं ली. I have just drawn the root locus to make you understand that root locus will always move parallel to the asymptotes and they will meet at s equal to infinity. मैंने कोई condition ली नहीं. ठीक है? From your point of view, you are right. लेकिन definitely when the breakaway point will be there will be one more polar z. Okay, next. Is it clear to you? I have not taken any condition. I have just drawn the root locus for the sake of reference. Okay? How it will move. How we are going to draw the curve. Okay, next is the point, step number 8. The point at which the root locus, points at which the root locus crosses the imaginary axis, for a negative feedback system can be calculated as. Or the negative feedback system can be calculated as. So let's consider a negative feedback open function first. G of s, h of s is equal to k divided by what I have taken s into s plus 1, s plus 2. Now see, he was right, maybe for his reference let me put one more. I'll put a 0 here, then condition will get satisfied. Let's say some 0 is there. Now what I have to see, let's say this is root locus diagram is like this. Then I have to calculate the point. Okay, asymptotes is fine, I know the angles and I can draw the angles approximately. Then, because I am writing earlier, I have written that they can be approximated with the help of the asymptotes. But that will not be a clear-cut procedure. Now, where it has root locus cut on the imaginary axis, where it has intersect on the imaginary axis, because that will determine the k marginal. This is k marginal, this is k marginal. Beyond that k marginal, so 0 should be less than a value of k, and that will be a k marginal, unless some value will be there. that is the stability zone, and if K marginal has some value, so that will be marginally stable, and K marginal greater than K marginal, that will be unstable. So this is very important for me. Once I know this value, I can, with the naked eye, I can determine the stability of the control system. Now what I have to do here, if I have a negative feedback control system, then first of all, first thing is I need to take the characteristic equation. Now characteristic equation 1 plus g of s, h of s will be equal to 0. So that means 1 plus g of s, h of s is k, s square plus s into s plus 2. So that is s square, that will be s cube, and that will be 2s square plus 2s plus k will be equal to 0. This is correct. S cube, 2s square and s square will be 3s square, okay, and then will be 2s square. Now this is my characteristic equation. Okay, I have got the characteristic equation. Now let's draw the root array now. So s cube will be, first term for the s cube is 1, and then I have again this 3s square. Okay, s cube plus 3s square. So second term will be 2. So first term will be 1, second term will be 2. For s square, first term will be 3, second term will be k. For s of 1, so this is 6 minus k divided by 3, and then it will be 0 because we don't have anything. S 0, same thing will copy this multiplied by this, minus 0 divided by this, so k will copy. Now in order to find the value of k, because this definitely will be the row of zeros. Can you tell me why? Anybody? Why this will be a row of zeros? This definitely will be your row of zeros. Now we can have a look here. Now substituting this value equal to 0 in order to find the value of k equal to, so 6 minus k will be equal to 0, k will be equal to 6. So now this k marginal here is 6. Okay? K marginal is 6, but point we did still get the point. Okay, k marginal is marginal value of k has to be 6. So what is the range of k should be? 0 should be, stability range has to be 0 should be less than, k should be 6. This is a stable region. And then k marginal value should be equal to 6. Then beyond greater than k greater than 6 will be unstable. Sometime you will be asked to find the range. It is very clear how you have to find the range. 0 less than k less than 1 is a stable region. K equal to 6 is marginal stability. Beyond that is an unstable region. Now since you can substitute the value of k here, you can very clearly see 6 minus 6, this is a row of 0. So you can get the auxiliary equation above. Auxiliary equation will be above the row of 0, that will be 3s square plus k. K value is 6. Now substituting for roots, substituting this auxiliary equation equal to 0 as we have already seen. 3s square will be equal to minus 6, s square will be equal to minus 2. So s will be equal to plus minus under root of minus 2. Minus 1 will be plus minus j under root of 2 radians per second. This is frequency of oscillations. So imaginary point, this point here where the root locus will cut will be plus under root j2, and this will be minus under root j under root 2. This is the way how you can find the stability of the system, and second, how you can locate a point where the root locus will intersect the imaginary axis. This is the procedure how you have to do. What you have to do, number one, you have to get the characteristic equation, draw the roots table, get the value of k, because that will be always a row of 0. Once you have got the row of 0, then get the roots, k marginal value for the stability, and for the roots, you can substitute. Auxiliary equation is always above it, we have seen it already. Then Substitute that auxiliary equation equal to 0. We get two values. Those two values are the values which will be the points where the root locus will intersect the imaginary axis. So this was at the point. Next point is about the angle of departure and angle of arrival. This is clear now. This we are taking down. So angle of departure and angle of arrival are associated with complex pole and complex zero. Very important points in sketching the root locus with a greater accuracy. They are very two important points in sketching the root locus with a greater accuracy. So next is step number 9. 2 points are there. Angle of departure, number 1. Number 2 is angle of arrival. In the airports, you will always see departure and arrival. It's the same thing. Nothing different, but in terms of poles here. You understand? Angle of departure is the angle at which the root locus leaves the complex. So angle of departure is the angle at which the root locus leaves the complex pole. And angle of arrival is the angle at which the root locus arrives at a complex zero. Angles of arrives at a complex zero. Angle of departure, I will repeat it. Angle at which the root locus departs or leaves a complex. What's the meaning of this? This will be clear right now. Clear it. An angle of arrival is the angle at which the root locus arrives at a complex zero. So our branch has to start from where? It has to depart from where? In other terms, if I can explain, if branch has to depart, where from it has to depart? It has to depart from the zero. And then where it has to arrive? Depart means it is starting. Departing भी वही होता है ना, जब आप airport से depart करते, you are going to departure lounge and then you are taking your body cards and other things. So depart. That means you are also starting. दोनों बातें एक ही हैं. You are starting your journey from that point. So branch will start from the root locus. That is, it will start from the. It will start from where? A pole, and it will arrive at where? So let's see how we will. So number 1, if we are talking about the angle of departure, what should be angle of departure? Angle of departure is equal to 180 minus sigma poles minus sigma 0. Okay, angle of departure is equal to 180 minus sigma poles minus sigma 0. Sigma What are these sigma poles? Sigma poles are the angles subtended by, sigma means all the angles subtended by the remaining pole. कुछ पोल हम कुछ complex pole will take that pole into one pole will be under reference from where we have to find the angles. So we have to leave that. Other poles wherever they are located we will take the angles. So sigma poles will be summation of all those angles subtended by the remaining poles. So you can write down sigma poles is sum of the angles subtended by remaining poles. Sum of the angles subtended by remaining poles. Similarly, sigma zeros will be sum of the angles subtended by remaining zeros. Okay, so this was angle of departure, how we have to calculate. Next is angle of arrival. Angle of arrival is what? Angle at which the root locus arrives at a complex zero. So how we have to calculate the angle of arrival? Angle of arrival will be 180 minus sigma zeros minus sigma poles. And the meaning is same thing. Sum of the angles subtended by the remaining zeros, sum of the angles subtended by the remaining zeros. So we denote this departure by phi d, and arrival we can find by phi d dash or something like phi or something. Fine. So angle of arrival is there. Now how to calculate this? Let us see. Let me take an example so that we will clarify this. Angle of arrival and angle of departure, when we have to calculate all these two angles. When we have to calculate. Now Rutba, when we have to calculate this. Whenever we have a complex pole or a complex zero. If we do not have, there is no need. ये नहीं आप start करते जाओ, कुछ भी दिया हो तो वहाँ real part में zero हो तो आप उसका भी कम नो. Whenever you have a complex pole or a complex zero, then only, if it is a complex pole, then you have to calculate the which one? Angle of departure. If it's a complex pole, you have to calculate the angle of departure. If it is complex zero, you have to calculate the angle of arrival. Don't get this confused. I will repeat it again. Complex poles and complex zeros will be present, then only these angles have to be calculated. If there is exclusively a complex pole, so you have to calculate only the angle of departure. If there is only a complex zero, then you have to only calculate the angle of arrival. So what's the procedure? Let's take an example. For example, same example जो मैंने उस time दी थी. Let's consider an open loop transfer function g of s h of s is k divided by s into s plus 4, s plus 6, s square plus s into s plus 6, s square plus 4s plus 13. Yeah, this is example. Now इसके complex numbers हमने निकाले थे, वो निकालने की जरूरत नहीं है. What were they? S was equal to this complex I'm talking of the poles minus 2 plus minus j3. हमने last time निकाले थे. Same example I'm taking intensely. Time ना waste. Okay. So roots of this are. Now there are two complex and conjugate poles. So you don't need to find. You need to find for the one only, which is in the quadrant 2. So let's see how we do it. Draw the pole zero diagram. This is your now while we have first origin pole, only poles we have. Can see s equal to 0. Then we have s equal to minus 3. Let's say this is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5 minus 6. Okay, so we have another, and then we have a complex pole whose real part is at minus 2. So here, and imaginary is here, j minus 1, j plus will be this side, sorry, j2 and j3. This will be minus 2 and it will be somewhere here. So this location is minus 2 plus j3. On this side it will be minus j1, minus j2, minus j3. So somewhere here it will be on this side. Minus 2, minus j3. Since we have to calculate the angle of departure, so we have to take reference pole. So reference will be complex pole only. Which we have to take? Always prefer to take the pole, complex pole which is in the quadrant 2. Why? In the quadrant 2, how the angles have to be found? 180 minus theta. You know always that one. First quadrant, add sugar to coffee, all are positive in first, second, sign is positive third. We don't need so much of geometry here, but you should always remember that second quadrant, if we have to find any angle, that will be 180 minus theta. So in this case, what we have to do, you need to draw the lines connecting to other pole. This is under reference. So this is a reference complex pole. So number 1, we will be drawing to this. Draw a line which is connecting to other poles. Number 1 is this. Number 2 is this. Number 3 is this. This is the number 1 construction. What you have to do, you have to draw the line from the reference pole, and that should be meeting the other poles. Now second thing what you have to do, you have to find the angle with respect to real axis. Just now I have told you, you have to find what? The angle. Now I need to find this angle, this complete angle. Now for this I have to find this theta. But what is my requirement? I need to find this angle for this pole with respect to the, with respect to this pole I need. Let's say this is phi. But for this, what I am going to find? I am going to find this theta. So how I can find the theta? So we have, this is your sine theta, cos theta, tan theta. You always remember this. The formulas some people have clearly here. There are lots of formulas, you can remember them. So now what is here? How is the magnitude? We need tan. Tan is what? Basically perpendicular divided by base. Perpendicular divided by base. So what is the perpendicular here? How much is the magnitude? 3. So I need theta. Theta is, let's say this I will call phi p1. And this with respect to real axis I will call phi p2. This is 90, we don't need to calculate this, this everybody knows. Straight line coming. So this is a 90 degree, which is phi p3. Okay, theta is what? Tan inverse of perpendicular divided by base. How much is this? Is the 3 units. 3 units. Base 2, 3 by 2. So theta is tan inverse 3 by 2 is what? 1.5. 1.5 is I think 45. Oh, 56.30. 56.30. So therefore, phi p1 will be equal to, we have to find this, I have told you, this we are joining with this pole. What is the angle with respect to the real axis we have to find? That's very important. So this phi p1 will be 180 minus 56.30. What is that angle? थोड़ी सी ज्योमेट्री आनी चाहिए यहाँ पे, कोई डिफिकल्ट नहीं है. I have calculated that angle. That is equal to approximately equal to 124 or 123. 123 degree, approximately, not 100%. There is something coming like 125 point something. Okay, so first angle is clear. Now move to the second angle. Now how many we have triangle? Take this triangle. I hope everybody knows this. We have taken this triangle. We can nominate this triangle also, or name this A, B, and some people C and D. Okay. Now for this we don't have to find anything. This is very clearly a 90 degree angle. जो अपने से if you have reference something, अपने से ऊपर आप देखो 90 डिग्री एंगल होता है, ठीक है? ये तो हर क्वाड्रेंट में ऐसे ही होता है. अपने से ऊपर सीधे 90, दाएं साइड 0 to 90 होता है, ठीक है? फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट में 0 to 90, सेकंड में 90 से 180. So this is the normal thing. I think everybody knows this is a 90. We don't need to calculate. Now calculate this angle. Considering the triangle ABC. This was triangle OAB. From OAB we have got theta, and then phi P1 we know that sum of the supplementary angles, that is a straight line, is 180 degree. So we can calculate out of that 180 degree minus theta is 120 approximately. Now second, considering the triangle, which triangle? ABC. ABC, how much is magnitude from here? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Very clear. From minus 2 to minus magnitude is 4. So here phi P2 will be tan inverse of, this is again perpendicular. What is perpendicular? Perpendicular is not going to change, that is 3. What is the base? 4. Phi P2, what is this? Tan inverse 3 by 4? 37. Approximately is 37 degrees. So phi P1 we have got, and similarly here phi P3 we don't need to calculate, it's a 90 degree. Phi P1 is 123, phi P2 is 37 degree centigrade by using the geometries. Now we can calculate the phi D, therefore angle of departure, because it's a pole, let us denote it by phi D, will be 180 minus summation of angles of all the sum of angles subtended by the remaining poles. So remaining pole was this one and this one. Angles subtended are this 123, okay, plus 27 plus 90, and there are no zeros. So this is 123 is 30, 50. 50 is how much? This is 240. 37. How much is this? Minus 7. 37. This is 37. So phi D is minus 7. So angle of departure in this case of this pole is minus 7. Now you need not to calculate. See, we have calculated the angle of departure for this phi D. Is it clear? इसमें किसी को doubt है? Anybody has a doubt? Yes. Huh? You are looking surprised? You have any doubt? You can ask. Okay. Now angle of, what are these poles? Poles are complex and conjugate. Once you are able to calculate the angle of departure of one, then angle of departure of another pole, let's call it phi D dash per second, will be minus of this. Minus of 70, that will be 70 degrees. You don't have to calculate it. You have to see, just because it's a complex, so minus sign you have to use. Because if you are going to again calculate, never use this as a reference. Even if you have to calculate this, sometimes in gate examination they will ask you to calculate this. Always calculate this and use a minus sign. Third quadrant में जाना, फिर negative से angles आना, that is somewhat, that will make a student confused. Okay? So it is better to go in the second quadrant and find all the angles and use this. So this was something about the angle of departure. If the similar thing is in the numerator, you have a complex zeros, then you can find the angle of arrival. But here, angle of arrival is not valid because we don't have the complex zeros. Okay. So last is how to obtain the value of k if the damping coefficients are given. This is in sum. If you have a doubt, yes. What I am talking about, एक अच्छे स्टूडेंट को पहले अप्रोच होने चाहिए कि मुझे सॉल्व कैसे क्वेश्चन करना है. नेवर गो फॉर सॉल्यूशन ऑफ दिस वन. यू सी टाइम लगेगा आपको. माइनस यहाँ पे आ रहा है. इट इज इजी टू फाइंड. इसमें तो जिसको पता होगा एंगल्स क्या आएंगे, इट्स इजी टू फाइंड. एंड देन collaborate this with the another this complex number. That would be a bit difficult to calculate. You should always calculate this and take this as a negative. Okay? Thank you. Finish this also. Okay, damping value is given at somewhere, then I'll after mixed class. फ्लूइड किनका है? केमिकल क्या नाम?
नहीं सर
₹500